Hey guys, it's Vanessa and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another What's for Dinner, you guys, but this one is extra special. It's a collab being put on by Sarah over at Sarah's Realm. Absolutely check out her channel, but we are all sharing some of our family favorites from 2020. Alright, so if some of you are returning to my channel, you're definitely going to recognize some of these recipes because they would be in my previous What's for Dinners. First off, I'm sharing my Taco Tot Crockpot Casserole, and you guys, all of the ingredients and recipes or links to recipes will be left down below in the description box. Now, one thing I will say, I have made this Taco Tot Casserole before, but usually I used the bigger tater tots, and I really like this bistro style. So that's the only thing I will say. If you're gonna make it, maybe try and find the bistro style. I just liked that they were a little thinner. So the first thing I'm gonna do, you guys, is go ahead and chop up an onion and add it to some ground beef. Basically, all we're doing here is cooking up our ground beef with our onions and any seasonings. I'm just using garlic powder, salt, pepper, and taco seasoning. Use as much or as little as you'd like. Everything that goes in next, you guys, is totally optional. I'm putting the things that we like to do if we were going to do like burritos or tacos. So corn, black beans, a can of Rotel with the chilies, super good. If you wanted to add jalapenos or green chilies in here to spice it up, absolutely do that. I had little ones eating this and they're not too keen on too much spice. So all I did so far, guys, is I went ahead and poured in all of the ground beef and our vegetable mixture and pat it down pretty flat into my crock pot. I'm sprinkling on some jalapeno heat cheese, a little bit of the enchilada sauce, or you could use taco. Again, it's totally up to you. And then I'm gonna layer all of my little tater tots on here. Now this bistro bag, I ended up using the entire bag because if I was using the fatter ones, I wouldn't have this double layer. I would have just done one single layer. And I'll go ahead and pour the rest of my enchilada sauce. Like I said, sometimes I use taco sauce. It just depends what I have in my pantry. I always have one or the other. This is just going to keep it nice and moist so it doesn't dry out. And a good handful of cheese on top of that, again, to keep it moist while it's cooking in the crock pot. I cook this on high, you guys, for 4 hours. I would say I actually checked it at about 3 and it was good to go, because then we're going to top it with tons more cheese, let it get all gooey and melty, and then we're going to serve it up.
That you'll always be on my mind, even in the hard times. I care about you. How do you move on when everything goes wrong? I'm trying to find a way to get you out my head. Don't know how to cope with being so broken. Girl, I can't forget about what we said. I just wanna...
You heard there, it gets kind of crispy around the edges, and that is literally my favorite part. Now, of course, you could cook this in the oven, but I like the convenience of a crock pot, you guys. Just turn it on and walking away. You can adorn this with whatever you'd like: salsa, sour cream, green onions. The possibilities are endless, but let me tell you, this is definitely one of our favorites from 2020.
Love you a little bit more. Love you a little bit more. Love you a little bit.
Cheesy, beefy crockpot casserole. Now, this is definitely a winner way before 2020 in our house, but when I discovered that I could make it in the crockpot in 2020, well, let's just say it made me very stinking happy. Now, I am actually making this one in my Ninja Foodie, you guys. You know I rave about it. If you're new, I'm a big Ninja Foodie advocate and actually have a video all about the top 5 things you can do in your Ninja Foodie, and one of them is using it as a slow cooker, which of course is my favorite thing. First step is to go ahead and slice up your onions as thin or as thick as you'd like. I would say thin if you don't want them to be overwhelming in flavor, or thicker if you really like a beefy onion. I like onions. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and mix up the seasonings, and like I said, everything is listed below. First up, we're gonna use some paprika. I have some parsley, some garlic powder, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper. And when I say this is super simple, guys, it is super simple. This is what we're gonna pour in between our layers. Next up, I'm gonna slice up my potatoes. I always take one side off to kind of help balance a more round potato so it's not rolling all over my cutting board, and I do use those ends as well, so nothing is getting wasted.
Just a little time for you and I until it's over.
And the only cooking involved here is to brown up my onions and my ground beef. Now technically I could have done it in the foodie since it also has a saute function, but for me I just find this easiest while that's cooking. I'm gonna go ahead and start layering everything. I gave it a little spray just so mainly the potatoes won't stick to the bottom. So I'm gonna do one layer of potatoes with onions, a sprinkling of the seasoning, the ground beef, and cheese, and we're gonna repeat. And you're gonna see one of the layers I sneak in a little bit of ranch dressing. That's totally optional.
It takes time to get it right. Sleepless days and nights. We just need a little more. Just a little time for you and I. So stay a bit longer. Just a little time for you and I until it's over. Just a little time.
One thing I will say is it's good to use like an old cheddar. I find it just tastes better, and also you don't need to do as many layers as I did. You could just do 2 and it would taste just as good. Don't mind me, I'm just sneaking a little Velveeta. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pour my chicken stock right over top, and this is gonna keep everything steaming and moist and delicious. Four hours on high, you guys, and my foodie was just right.
I'm not gonna be there for you, cause you were never there for me. Don't go ask me what you did wrong. Ignorance will never see. No, wasn't it for me? Why don't you just let it be? I gave you 1, 2, and 3 times that wasn't my good. Cause you're not on your knees.
All right, so you've seen all kinds of pizzas, little individual biscuit pizzas where you roll it out and you make your toppings. Those are so good. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love those. But this is called a bubble up, or a biscuit bubble up, or a biscuit pizza. Call it what you will, it's amazing. The fact is you can take biscuits, you guys, and I swear you can do pretty much anything. You can throw cinnamon sugar on them and make these delicious pull apart monkey bread. Like, it's just amazing. And of course I'm showing you my fantastic cheese grater. I've had this for a few months now, but when I first got it, guys, I was so excited. I will leave a link down below for Amazon. I am not an affiliate and I don't make any money by it. I just think everyone needs to own one of these. So the first thing I'm doing is getting all of the cheese ready that I'm gonna need. Next up, we need to slice up these biscuits into quarters, but as you can see here, I'm using a pizza cutter. Trust me, it will save you lots of time. Make yours as big or as little as you want. I was feeding a crowd, so I went ahead and made a 9x13 pan, which means I needed 2 cans of biscuits, you guys. Now I'm a little bit meticulous and the Virgo in me comes out, and I really make sure it's in a flat layer. Plus it's kind of like a pull apart pizza, if I'm honest. So take your time.
These douchebags
Sorry, that's my favorite part of the song. I can't help it. So I went ahead and sprinkled some Parmesan, just some stuff out of the fridge is good, some Italian seasoning. I really like the Clubhouse one that you get at Costco. It's really good, you guys. And I'm gonna empty a good amount of sauce because you don't want this to be dry. I know some people like to mix it and combine it with the biscuits. I don't like that. So this is the point you would sprinkle any toppings besides pepperoni, and then top it with your cheese, and then top it with your pepperoni.
You just let it be. Oh, what's in it for me? Kind of place that my good. Why is it not on your knee? Oh, what's in it, baby?
I like to top my pizzas with a little more seasonings and Parmesan, and I'm baking it at 375 for 30 minutes.
What's in it for me? Kissed a girl just 'cause you wanted to.
It's literally like the best cafeteria pizza I've ever had, and the kids ate it with ranch. You guys, try it. It's incredible.
Made it do. She started doing her hair and makeup, oh, just for you. Only because you kissed a girl when you wanted to. You think you're young and smart, got no responsibility in this world. But if you're young and smart,
Arrabiatta sauce, and I probably said that wrong, and it's okay because I like trying to say it that way. Guys, this is probably the best pasta sauce, and I talked about it when I shared it on my channel before. It is a sauce that I first made from scratch. You know what I mean? Like from tomatoes and garlic, just like you're seeing here. It's a little bit spicy. It's so fresh. Olive oil, garlic, fresh, pureed San Marzano tomatoes. You guys, this is an amazing recipe. I am leaving it below. The first step here that you're seeing me do is blanching the garlic for about 30 seconds in a boiling pan and taking them out because it's going to make my life easier because I have to peel a cup of garlic. I also serve this up with chicken parm. I'm not going to share that recipe in today's video, but I will link it down below if you're interested in making it alongside your arrabbiata.
she started. Where have you been? It's 2:30.
So the main idea behind this sauce is just sauteing your garlic in some olive oil, getting it nice and brown for a couple of minutes. You don't want to burn it because burnt garlic is bitter. You're also going to puree some delicious San Marzano tomatoes. You guys, I got these cans from Costco. If you're lucky and they're in stock, absolutely snag them. Now, when I'm cooking with them in a regular pasta sauce, I just use a masher and they mash up pretty well, but I wanted them to be pureed for this sauce, so I threw them in my blender. So now I'm going to go ahead and brown up that garlic very gently, like I said, in some olive oil, and then I'm going to transfer that garlic into the blender and blend it together with my tomatoes. Now, how long you blend it is up to you. I like chunks of garlic, so I don't blend it. I just give it about 2 or 3 pulses and it's good to go. Then we're going to add it all right back to that olive oil that we just took the garlic out of and saute it all together. You guys, this is going to be amazing.
Not as cool as you would think, not as cool as you would think, yeah. That's not as cool as you would think, not as cool as you would think, yeah.
our seasonings. Now you add as many or as little chili flakes as you'd like. In honesty, I wish I would have added a little bit more. It wasn't quite spicy enough, but salt and pepper. And you guys, this is going to be the most amazing thing. You're going to add your boiled pasta, some Parmesan cheese, and stir it all together. This doesn't look like a delicious pot of Italian pasta, like authentic. I don't know, is it authentic? Are you Italian? Comment down below. But it sure makes me feel so warm and cozy inside. I'm telling you, everyone inhaled this. Belle took it in her thermos the next day for lunch. Next up, I'm sharing loaded potato soup, and there's a delicious cornbread recipe, which I will link below if you guys are interested in trying that out. But guys, loaded potato soup is rampant on YouTube lately, rightfully so. It's amazing. Now, where this is a loaded potato soup, I'm thinking about all the things that go on a full loaded baked potato. I think bacon and I think onions. So I'm going to go ahead and saute my bacon right in the Dutch oven that I'm going to make my soup in, because you want all those brown bits and you want all that bacon fat. I am not draining any of it, you guys. Any of it. So while that's happening, you see I'm chopping up onions and celery, and I'm using the little potato company potatoes because I like the peel on them. It's nice and thin, and it's not like a big russet where it can be a little bit more to deal with. And frankly, I'm lazy and don't want to peel any potatoes.
Let's show 'em what we got. Let's make it last. This is too good to lose. Baby, we can kick this blues. Honey, break the beat. Song that's on repeat and make it last. Oh baby, you and me like an endless sea, like a bright light shining down on me. You are all the colors I see.
All I've done here is added enough butter that I had roughly a 1/4 cup of fat in the bottom of my Dutch oven. Just depends how much fat your bacon renders. I'm going to go ahead and add the celery and onions and saute those off for about 2 or 3 minutes till they start to soften a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and season these with a little bit of salt and pepper. It's nothing too elaborate, you guys. The only other seasoning I do use in here is a seasoning salt. It's a crouton Cracker Jack recipe here on YouTube. I will link that below for you guys as well. And if I do forget, please leave a comment and ask me to. I'm also going to add some flour here just to create a roux. So if you're making a soup and it's thick, you're going to want to add some flour. This is what's going to thicken your soup. Sometimes you can mix it in with your milk, but that's a whole other process. So I'm going to cook this off. You always want to cook this off 45 seconds to a minute. Otherwise, you're going to have a strange taste in your soup or gravy or whatever it is that you're making. So here I'm adding a little bit of the chicken stock that I'm going to be adding to my soup to loosen up some of those bits on the bottom of the pan. Then we're going to add the potatoes, then the stock. The reason I do it in this order, guys, is so that I'm not splashing potatoes in my liquid. And it kind of gives them a second to get wrapped up in all of those flavors that are happening in the pan right now. I'm going to add my liquids, then I'm going to stir it up and add all of my bacon, and you're going to see the most delicious soup just form before your eyes.
I'm so tired of this old song. Turn it up a notch. Let's show 'em what we got. Let's make it.
I added some sneaky freeze-dried chives, and of course, how could I possibly forget the cheese, you guys? I mean, how else can you have loaded potato soup without cheese? Now, this all just simmers for, I'm thinking it was like 20 minutes, and I was diving in.
This old song. Turn it up a notch.
did add most of the bacon into the soup and reserved some on the side, but I like to use the crumbled bacon bits from Costco on mine with some green onions and some cheese, and this is perfection. Guys, these were some of our favorite meals that we had in this past year. I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you try out some on your family. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video.
If you ever feel alone, 'cause yeah, sometimes we'll feel alone in a sec.